My name is Gloria Nolan. I am a Tomorrow Builders Fellow. I'm also a wife and mother of two. I was born and raised in St. Louis and had pretty meager beginnings. Um, Growing up, I had a mother that was incarcerated starting when I was 6 years old, um, a father that I didn't know, and I wound up in foster care by the age of 8. Um, but based on what I experienced with all of that sadness and anger, I was still able to push through and persevere, large in part due to my connections with educators that I had in my life who just pushed me to greatness. They said that I was great and that I would do great things, namely my um, middle school, seventh grade math and science teachers. I was a student in SLPS, a product of SLPS, and I believe I believe in SLPS. And so those were the types of teachers that I had that pushed me to greatness and said that I could go to college and I could become whatever I wanted to become. And so I really followed the path that they shined a light on for me to follow. Um, Following high school, I left St. Louis. And I was gone from home for quite a while. I was gone for a total of 16 years. And just back in 2014, my family and I relocated back here to St. Louis. At that time, our children were 3 years old and 5 months old. We moved back to my old community, which is North St. Louis. And I always say that we moved there on purpose and with a purpose. So we rented for a little bit, and then we finally bought a home in North City. Our children were at that age where they were going into the early learning portion of their lives, and so we decided to put them in my aunt's home daycare. It was called Todd's Daycare, and she had run the center from her home in North St. Louis, in the Walnut Park area for over 20 years. Her home is a place that I would describe filled with a lot of love. She had a lot of care for the children that she served. She did need a lot of resources because she have used more training and specific supplies for her and her team, a very small team of, they were a team of 3. Yes, absolutely, she could have used additional resources. And so that's what really, I really saw it as a challenge, and I felt like children in Walnut Park deserve a high quality early learning experience, and children all over the St. Louis region, no matter what their zip code was. And so I found out about We Power. I started doing some advocacy work in K-12 education, and then finally got an opportunity to participate in early learning advocacy for early childhood through the Tomorrow Builders Fellowship. And I was just very, very activated, and decided to pursue helping in this field. Um, see, so the goals of the fellowship was to identify areas that needed to be enhanced and improved in early learning, and out of that came the Ready by 5 campaign, and it took a lot of different partners and people who have a lot of deep care and concern to come to this, but finally launched the Ready by 5 campaign to raise money to pour into early childhood education, to focus on enhancing the workforce, creating a governance and coordination um, entity that would help to enhance the centers that we have, and make sure that every child was being served in an equitable manner. Also, the goals were to work on in improving the overall quality of early learning in our region, as well as focusing on family well-being. So those were the categories that we are really working on. And I am glad to be a part of this work. I think that any average citizen can be a part of this work, and there's a number of ways that you can get involved, ranging from sharing a post on your social site, signing a petition, signing up to volunteer to phone bank and knock on doors, or even joining a 7-month Power Building Academy to learn more about early childhood education issues, and then do advocacy around this field like I'm doing. So just wanted to share that message, and I hope that you can join us.